Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Central Eastern Europe. Good morning, Southern Eastern Europe. Where are you watching from? Turkey, Israel, Greece, Malta, Malawi, Zambia, wherever you're watching from. Good morning to you. Happy Monday. It's another Monday morning, and as we do on Monday mornings, we come together to help talent professionals with some of those hard-to-hire roles. And specifically today, we'll be covering how to hire cybersecurity specialists. But of course, before we even get started with that, where are you watching me from? Can you hear me? Because I'd love to engage with you. This show is all about you as talent professionals coming together, engaging with us to learn some of the best practices that can help you find some of the talent that you need as an organization out there. Of course, we started off today's live stream with a quick video showing how LinkedIn itself goes about hiring hard to hire talent. Welcome to the live stream. I may have gone ahead of myself and of course jumped straight into it, but I must start off by introducing myself. So good morning to those of you that I haven't met before. My name is Stuart Samkange, proudly from Zimbabwe, currently living in Dublin, Ireland, helping LinkedIn work with a very, very important community. The community I get to work with is, of course, our higher educational community, our nonprofits, our healthcare, and of course, our governments that are looking for critical solutions. To solve the problems that they have, they need talent because we can all get the same technology, we can all adopt the same business processes, but what distinguishes us as a business is the people that we hire. So I help these institutions find the best-in-class talent to come and work for them. And then once they've got that talent, we develop that talent so that these institutions achieve the business missions that they have as organizations. So if you are joining and you're a nonprofit, if you are a government agency, if you are a higher educational institution or a healthcare service provider, you're in the right place. But if you're not, don't worry. We have colleagues here at LinkedIn that take care of financial services, telcos, and other institutions in the commercial space. So you're in the right place. Checking to see if we're in the right place and wanting to get started with today's agenda, let us see who we've got on our live stream. Good morning to you, Stephen. How you doing? And I'm glad to see that you can actually hear me, and at least that gives me a signal to get started on today's live stream. As I said, this live stream is, of course, about how we hire cybersecurity specialists. But before I even get started on that narrative, I typically, when we have these live streams, have a question for the day. The question for today is, how are you as HR, as recruiters, as hiring managers, as organizations, how are you transforming the way you're doing your workforce planning? Because if you are looking for cybersecurity skills, if you are looking for fundraisers, recruiters, if you are looking for software developers, if you are looking for AI engineers, you need to transform first so that you can attract, engage this talent at scale and efficiently. And that's what this show is all about. So, the question of the day is, how are you transforming your organization, and how are you transforming as an HR professional? To get us started on that, before we go into our cybersecurity session, I wanted us to watch this quick video on the changing role of HR professionals.
In the beginning, the role of your HR team was largely functional. It was centered around payroll, leave, policy making and training. Recruitment generally meant putting an ad in the paper and hoping for the best, or hiring a recruiter. Then things changed. Technology and social media happened, and as a result, your role as the head of HR began to evolve. Being just a brand name company was no longer enough. Because of social media, everyone knows what it's like to work at your company. They can see who works there, if you have cool company perks, what your company culture is like, and even if your office has a slide. The employer brand was born. Now every employee is an ambassador. Their experiences are shared with a captive online audience, who in turn share it with their audiences. Today, the first step of recruitment doesn't start with a job application. It starts online. The very first thing a prospective job candidate does is run a search on you. Not just your company. It's also your LinkedIn profile that they are looking at. As the head of HR, you now also need to be a brand builder and a marketer. Recruitment began to change too. Technology opened up a whole new world of talent, for not just active job seekers, but hundreds upon thousands of qualified candidates who weren't actively looking. It was a game changer. You now had direct access to talent. You no longer had to wait for the right CV to cross your desk. Your employees were also increasingly becoming a valuable source of recruitment. As ambassadors for your company, they were best placed to identify the right people to join your team. But for them to do that efficiently, you needed to give them the right tools. A strong employer brand, a great company narrative, and an inspiring work environment. As the head of HR, you now also need to be a communications expert and motivator. Technology also opened up an overwhelming world of data to HR leaders. There was so much opportunity to utilize this data to improve the decision-making process, make better hires, and retain talent. All at your fingertips. You just had to make sense of it all. Because you now needed to be an analyst and an insights person. Today, the role of HR in an organization is no longer functional. It is transformational. As a head of HR, you are responsible for building your employer brand so that you attract the right talent. You deliver value for your company by understanding and using data-driven insights to improve efficiencies. You hire the right talent by connecting with the right people. You are a brand builder, an analyst, a communicator, a motivator, and a collaborator. And as your partners at LinkedIn, we are here to provide you with just the tools and insights you need to get the job done.
Welcome right back. And of course, today, like I promised you, we'll be talking about how to hire a cybersecurity specialist. But I thought it was important for us to understand the changing nature of the work of HR professionals. The fact that we need to rely more on insights if we're going to be more effective in the roles that we play. The decisions that we make are based on data, based on understanding what skills our businesses need, where to find that talent, and how to engage it. And of course, like we promised you on today's live stream, it's all about how to hire cybersecurity specialists. So let's get right into it. And of course, what we will be covering in this live stream is all the resources you're going to need in order to identify where this talent is, identify the types of skills that you need in your business, aligning that, of course, with your job description, and going out there and asking detailed interview questions. In terms of detailed interview questions, what you can expect in this live stream is that we will typically cover the top 3 questions that are asked to those who are in cybersecurity. around soft skills, hard skills, and of course behavioral questions. So that's what you can expect in this live stream is best practices typically aligned to those in recruiting, those who are HR managers, and of course those who are hiring managers. We have covered a couple of jobs as we have done these live streams every Monday. We have covered jobs to do with teaching, fundraising, donor relations, software development, AI engineers, and we also covered HR managers. Today, we're covering, of course, cybersecurity specialist roles. Now, those of you who are hiring technical roles, I'm asking you to broaden your thinking cap right now as we start looking at the roles of course, cybersecurity specialist, but of course, you could apply some of this to other tech roles that you're hiring for. At LinkedIn, we're here to assist you in hiring all of these types of tech roles by giving you access to insights that let you know where this talent is, help you plan your sourcing and your branding so that, of course, candidates voluntarily are attracted to your brand. What's more, if they're not attracted to your brand, we give you in-mails that allow you to reach those hard to hire talent. Let's get started. And to get started, of course, we always cover why would someone go out there and hire a cybersecurity specialist? You and I both know that cybersecurity specialists are those who are entrusted to help keep us safe, both from internal and external risk as an organization. Our cybersecurity specialists know how to identify, how to prevent, and of course, how to mitigate against all these challenges and threats that are coming to our technology platforms in the form of malware and all other negative types of things that affect our infrastructure. In terms of what we can expect when we get a cybersecurity specialist to come and join us, is that they're coming in to help protect some of the documents that we have as an organization. These documents could be documents of our own staff, faculty, students, our patients. These could be information about those that we fund, those that we support if we're a nonprofit or if we're a government. Of course, this is citizen data. What we expect, of course, our cybersecurity specialists to be doing is to be always actively learning and taking a day-by-day approach in terms of monitoring activities, being able to identify proactively when there's attacks on our system. So our cybersecurity specialists, I don't want to belabor the point, they come into our business to help protect it. Because those who are working to attack our business, those who want to steal our data, those who want to misuse our data of our customers, of our employees, of our students, of our community, those who want that data are constantly finding new ways to either social engineer or get access to the information that you have as an organization. And this is where our cybersecurity specialists come in to assist us to safeguard our institutions. So let's not belabor the point in terms of why we'd go out and hire them. I think it's a given point. One thing that will be important to point out right now is where these cybersecurity specialists are particularly in high demand. What we have seen, of course, using LinkedIn data is that across the platform, we've seen a rise in terms of organizations that desperately need cybersecurity specialists. These being in the form of governments, universities, colleges, healthcare institutions that are looking for this type of talent. But as I mentioned, these organizations, you know yourself that there are financial institutions that can offer mortgages, bank loans, and all sorts of other things to attract the same talent that we're trying to engage and bring into our organization. So how do we position our organization to cybersecurity specialists and give them a reason to want to join us over the financial offers that they're getting better from other people in the marketplace? So as governments, as universities, what are we positioning? Knowing what we know about cybersecurity specialists, they have a propensity to learn, to engage, to grow. So maybe one of the things we should be looking to position is to position the developmental opportunities one will get if they join our organization. Moving right along, let's look at some of the top skills and qualifications we'd look for in a cybersecurity specialist role. Of course, we know that all our organizations are unique and that recruiters, hiring managers might approach this role differently, here's some of the more common uh, skills and qualifications that are required and preferred that you could use to determine if someone is the right fit for your organization. First of all, let's look at what we require. We would be looking, of course, to have our cybersecurity specialists having some level of experience. Experience in, of course, the space that they operate in. We're looking at least 3 to 5 years of experience in cybersecurity, both in a medium-sized organization or in an industry similar to ourselves. Or it could be a competitive advantage for us when we specifically target to hire cybersecurity specialists coming in from different industries, because those industries could have faced more attacks, more threats, and that cybersecurity specialists, when they come into our environment, which is just beginning to experience attacks, then maybe they will bring some experience that we desperately need as an organization. So experience matters, and of course, relevance in terms of industry matters. And we said as HR professionals, there's two ways we can use this insight. One, we might want to hire people specifically from our own industries, or two, we might want to hire talent specifically from other industries so that we, as a university, as a college, as a government, as a nonprofit, we are now acquiring skills coming from different segments. Next, of course, we expect them to have a deep knowledge of IT, including the broad spectrum of what we call information technology today, be it from devices to software to hardware, and of course to networking, because all of these serve as attack surfaces for those who want to steal data from our organization. As we round off, of course, the required skills and qualifications, it pays for us to meticulously understand if this person has attention to detail and if they have the ability to multitask when assigned work assignments. In terms of preferred skills that we might look at when we look at our cybersecurity specialists, we might consider some of these as not core skills, but these as essential soft skills that will complement the professionals we're looking for. So we're looking at things like verbal and written communication skills, because of course, our cybersecurity specialists will some point need to demystify, to communicate to leaders technical conversations in non-technical terms. What's more, of course, we look at this person's ability to solve problems and, of course, to have that forensic mindset. And, of course, we can further dig into that forensic mindset in terms of what skills they might have invested in previously that might be useful to us in this instance as we hire a cybersecurity specialist. As we round off, of course, looking at our preferred skills and certifications, we want to understand, of course, if these candidates that are coming into our organization, what is their preferred work style? Cybersecurity specialists, being specialists, like we said, are unique. So what is their preferred work style? Is it working individually? Is it working in a team? Is it working remotely? If we understand all of these things, it will make our jobs in terms of hiring this talent into our organization a lot easier. Let's leverage the insights to be specific about the industries where we want to find this talent. Let's leverage the insights to be specific about the type of skills we expect them to have and those that are preferential, that will help us shortlist the very best in talent to come and work for us. I hope you are engaged and I hope you got questions coming through the stream. We will be stopping halfway through to check in on questions. And of course, I welcome everybody who's watching, and special shout out to a couple of people that are watching right now all the way from Kenya. Good morning to you, Caroline, and good morning to you, Joseph, and Gladys, who's also watching. All right, let's continue with, of course, how to hire cybersecurity specialists as we move our conversation now into writing a job description. A compelling job description that outlines who we are as an organization and why we might be thinking of hiring a cybersecurity specialist. What's more, knowing that these are professionals that are working with technology, being cybersecurity specialists, how do we attract them and engage them in this environment where they are greatly in demand across multiple sectors and multiple industries? How do we succinctly position who we are as an organization, what the job role is, what are the expectations, and what are the standout skills and certifications that will help our candidates know the type of person we're looking to hire? So, in terms of putting out your job description out there for cybersecurity specialists, we provide you with a template. And not only are we providing you with a template for cybersecurity specialists, we have provided you templates for all the other roles that we have covered in this live stream series. We have covered teachers, fundraisers, donor relations directors, software engineers, AI engineers, HR managers, and even how to hire recruiters. If you missed that session, I have got a QR code where you'll be able to watch all of those different individual sessions and see what the job descriptions look like for each one of those. How LinkedIn comes up with these job descriptions is that, of course, on this platform you're on right now, there's over 59 million companies. And not only 59 million companies, those companies are looking to hire. At any given point, we find 11 million jobs on the platform. With that mindset, we then look and say, what are the commonalities? What are some of the things that organizations out there are looking for that might be consistent across multiple industries? And then we get the opportunity in live streams like this to share that with you. Now, of course, I know there's a lot on the screen. Understood. There's a lot on the screen, not because it's an eye test. There's a lot on the screen just to give you an idea of what the template looks like. A couple of key points here. Number one, we know that our cybersecurity specialists are most likely to see our jobs leveraging mobile devices. So, number one, we want to be succinct. So, what we find in this job description template is that right up at the top is a clear description from us as an organization on what our intention is in hiring for this role. What are we trying to do? This gives us an opportunity also to showcase to the world at large how seriously we are taking the cybersecurity efforts as an organization to protect our customers, to protect our students, to protect, of course, our employees and all those stakeholders that we work with. Ultimately, we want the ideal candidate to get a sense of the organization, and then also for them to get a sense of what we want to understand from them in terms of skills, certifications, the sort of standards they adhere to, and their mindset in working in this environment. What we also want to do with this job description is outline the objectives of the role, clearly outline what is expected in this role from a day-to-day monitoring perspective, from a team collaboration perspective, from maintaining documentation so that we're able to at least have an audit trail, or we're able to at least build up a knowledge base of all the security procedures, standards, and controls we have taken as an organization to prevent attacks from those who wish us harm. We then go further to outline our responsibilities that we are entrusting into the cybersecurity specialists and what we expect them to do in terms of the role. From monitoring to conducting testing to configuring our systems, and of course, for them to help us manage our users. Because of course, there are several ways that hackers can get at us, and one of the most easiest ways that they get to us is through our own people. And this is why we spoke, of course, about the importance of documentation. Because as cybersecurity professionals, as you document the threats that are coming into your organization, as you capture the ways you've resolved these, you are able to share these with your learning and development, with your CIO, with your CSO, and then we start bringing about better education for our employees, because that's where the vulnerability could be coming from. So as a cybersecurity specialist, your role and the things that you do ultimately safeguard this organization. We need you to be clear about the work you're doing and to document that work so that we can use this documentation to better protect our infrastructure, our people, and of course our organization and stakeholders. Let's move on and look at what else we'd be looking for if we were looking to hire a cybersecurity specialist. Irregardless of the size of our organization, I think it pays for us to look for those who have experience, industry experience, between 3 to 5 years. And then what we could then do is leverage our insights to look and say, have they worked in an industry similar to us? How deep is their knowledge on software, hardware, networks? How meticulous are they in paying attention to detail? And of course, how do they come across as a critical thinker or a problem solver? Some of the other things that we could also consider, and of course, some of these are legislated in your regions based on country rules. But here's what you could look at as an organization. So maybe we're looking at someone who has a bachelor's degree or equivalent in IT, information systems, or a related field. We're looking, of course, like we said, at essential soft skills such as the ability for that someone to work independently, work as part of a team, and also to have a mindset of a hacker. Yeah, I said it. We're looking to understand how this person who's coming in to protect us can think like a hacker. Because when they're able to do that, then of course we're able to prevent disasters and challenges and attacks coming on us. So what you might want to do here is HR professionals, if you're not overly familiar with this space, of course you have HR business partners and you have your hiring managers, and of course you have interview panels where subject matter professionals can assist you in sitting in on these meetings so that ultimately what you're getting from the engagement is not only the answers that speak to communication skills or speak to behavioral or speak to who they are, but also speak to the hard skills, which you might not be familiar with. As we do with this live stream and we do every week, is we share with you what are some of the top interview questions for hiring cybersecurity professionals. And of course, I'll be taking your questions shortly. So if you've got questions, add them to the chat. What we want to look at now as we transition is to get an understanding of if we had a candidate in front of us right now and we wanted to assess their hard skills, behavioral intelligence, and their soft skills, what would be some of the top 3 questions we might ask our candidate? So those of you who are hiring managers, this is the time to pay attention. Those of you who are job seekers and are joining us, also a great time to pay attention. So today we're interviewing Onginkosi. And today's interview with him is really about trying to get a sense of his hard skills, soft skills, and maybe some behavioral intelligence. So one of the top hard skill questions I might start off with Onginkosi is to say, what are your personal certifications in the cybersecurity field? Certifications matter in this field because this is a highly regulated field and this is an industry and a field where change is on the constant go. So what I might want to do as a recruiter or as a hiring manager is I'm asking this question to see if the certifications this particular candidate, Onginkosi, the skills he's bringing, are they aligned to the skills my team has? And is he helping us fill in the gap for some of the other platforms and certifications that we might not have as a team? So again, when it comes to workforce planning and engaging in bringing in talent, you want to have insights into what talent do we have today, what talent do we need for tomorrow, and of course, how we can fill up any other gaps that we identify as we look at our institution. We want to check, of course, the candidate's attitude on this question, if they are keeping up to date with what's changing in this industry and how they keep them up to date in terms of cybersecurity. Here, the candidate also has an opportunity to outline their passion for this space. Moving right along, and I know this is a bit of a busy slide, but in the interest of time, I combined 2 of the next top hard skill interview questions so that we can progress quickly. I know it's Monday morning and some of you have things to rush to. So again, I'm still interviewing Bonginkosi and I'm saying, when you're building a firewall, do you prefer filtered or closed ports and why? Again, as I said, when we're interviewing these specialist roles, it pays for us as HR professionals to tag team with hiring managers or subject matter professionals so that as we pose these questions, those who are in the know, those could be people in the role, those could be people that will manage this person, or those who will support this talent to develop once it comes on board. If we have them partnering with us in these interviews, as we listen into what these candidates say back to us as feedback, we're then able to demystify any technical jargon or language that we as HR professionals might not understand. Of course, I said at the beginning of this live stream, make time for learning. If you are going to be hiring cybersecurity specialists and you're an HR professional, it doesn't excuse you from not making time to learn more about them. Why? I did this week some learning around what are the common threats, what are the common tools, what are the common ways that you can interview or assess security threats, etc. All of that is available on LinkedIn Learning, and I invested less than 30 minutes just to learn this space so that when I am speaking to a cybersecurity specialist, I'm speaking with credibility as an HR professional. Because remember, when they're coming in for the interview, as much as you're interviewing them, they are interviewing you. So if you're coming across as someone who doesn't understand this space and this is just another run-of-the-mill interview, then maybe that top talent might take itself to your competitors. And that's not what we're looking for. So we asked the question, when you're building a firewall, do you prefer filtered or closed ports and why? Now, those who are in the know will know that what we're looking for here is some answers that will at least cover the concepts of security obscurity, and discussing some of the disadvantages and advantages of visibility. Again, listen in and watch that body language. As I often say to recruiters, listen with your eyes, not just your ears. The hesitation in answering this question could tell us a lot about that person's confidence about some of these basic questions around firewalls and how we protect them in the world of work. Next question we might go into is, if you were a cyber criminal. I said, if you were a cyber criminal, how would you try and gain access to secure data? It's a hypothetical example, but at least it helps us demonstrate, or at least for the candidate to demonstrate their working knowledge of how hackers are accessing environments. What we're looking here is to get a sense of how well versed is this cybersecurity specialist with the industry and some of the new tactics that are being used by those who mean us harm and those who want to steal our data. So it's a hypothetical question. And of course, again, we're looking here to understand how our candidates would approach this question. So there's no hard fixed answer for this one, no right or wrong, but ultimately we're looking to learn from this candidate how they get into the minds of cybersecurity, of cyber criminals, and how they can protect us from a security perspective. Let's move right along. And as I said, I have combined the slides today so that we get to your questions a lot quicker and that we learn at scale. What are we learning right now? We're learning some of the top behavioral interview questions to ask cybersecurity specialists. So we want to get a sense of how they would react in a certain situation. Here's some of the questions we might ask them. Number one, give me an example of a time you used teamwork to accomplish a task. Now we're beginning to understand someone's experience in working in this space, and not only the experience as an individual, we're now beginning to understand whether they led a team, they were part of a team, and what their contribution is. Because when they're going to join us, they're going to be part of a team. They might be working at, of course, a software level, but they'll have an opportunity to work with our networking team, our hardware team, the team that does devices, the team that manages people, the team that manages our security policies. So it pays for us to understand how this person has worked with teams in the past. And if they've done this at scale in a leadership role, and what their contribution is. So that might be the question I'd ask Bonginkosi to give us around an example of where he's worked in a team as an individual, and of course, as an individual team lead and as part of a team. Next question I might ask is for Bonginkosi to describe to me a situation in which he discovered a vulnerability in a company's server and what steps he took to resolve that issue. Great question here. I love this one here because what I'm looking for is a forward-thinking approach to come from the candidate. I want to know what are the various ways they went about to protect us from not only current vulnerabilities, but future vulnerabilities. As they tell out this situation, and here in the situation, I'm looking to understand the context, I'm looking to understand the actions, and I'm looking to understand the results of their particular intervention. I'm looking to understand how quick this person was to apply corporate policies to notify the right people, and also because security is so important, how they communicated this without causing a panic. Educating leaders and educating everyone on the steps that we need to take to ensure that whatever attack is happening is mitigated and controlled. So these could be some of the top behavioral questions that I would go about asking Bonginkosi as we go into our interview. One more question I might want to ask him in terms of understanding his experience in cybersecurity and getting, of course, a preview of the type of behavior I can expect is I might ask the question, tell me about the last time when you identified an incoming cyber attack. When you saw it coming, what was the outcome? Give me specific details about the attack. Where was it coming from? What type of an attack? What type of a method had this hacker used to try and gain access to our environment? Or the environment where you worked, or the environment you're currently working in? Because we are currently trying to hire you to join our organization, Bonginkosi. What we might also want to do is get a sense from this candidate, Bongi, on what evidence they can present to us on how quick they were to respond when faced with this type of a situation. Folks, this live stream is all about you. We have covered so far what are the top 3 interview questions we would ask from a hard skills perspective. We have now covered the top 3 skills from a behavioral perspective. But as equally important is to get a sense of soft skills, essential soft skills that we would ask for, test for, because these are critical for the success in this role. And I know as we've been speaking, we have used the lens of bringing cybersecurity specialists into our organization. But what we also do is give you the opportunity to grow internal people into these roles. Some of our organizations, governments, healthcare, universities and colleges are not looking particularly today to bring people from the external world, but might be looking to develop some of this talent internally. So as we're going through some of these questions, as we're looking at some of these skills, I want you as HR professionals and as learning and development professionals or talent management professionals to maintain the lens of what we're learning today can be used for external hiring, can be used to develop internal people so that they get access to new economic opportunities. Of course, what you're learning today is no secret. Keep in mind what you're learning today and what you will share with your audience after this live stream. Let's look at the top 3 questions in terms of soft skills that we might be testing for with our cybersecurity specialist. Number 1, how do you keep yourself organized? So, what are we testing for here? Personal organizational skills from this individual, attention to detail. It pays for us to hire people that have a true sense of how to use their time and leverage various tools and technologies to better organize the quality of the work that they produce. So, just getting a sense of how this person approaches the day, how they approach their working hours, and how they keep themselves abreast in terms of the changing nature of this industry will also help us understand the type of talent that we're looking to bring in. Next, we might want to look at what does effective cybersecurity look like to you? This is a great question. I know on Fridays, we typically cover a session where we're helping job seekers. And of course, one of the questions I helped job seekers this week with was, if you're in an interview and you get to the end and they ask you, do you have any questions? One of the best questions to ask is, what does success in this role look like to you? Now, in this case, I'm talking to you as recruiters, I'm talking to you as talent professionals, I'm talking to you as, of course, heads of business, CSOs, CIOs, etc. We want to flip this question in terms of getting a true sense of these individuals and how they perceive what success looks like in the role they're being hired for. So, have they read through our job descriptions? Do they know what are the important metrics of security and maintaining good security standards? This ideal candidate that we're looking for, how are they approaching their role by leveraging data and using data first approach? What are some of the quantitative measures that they look at as measures of success? So this starts giving me a true sense of how much this person has invested themselves in knowing what this role is and what our expectations are and how they think they can contribute to the success of our organization by joining us. Last question that we'll be looking at is an interview question today. And this one here, I want to come back on camera on this. I wish we're sitting in the room together because I would love to see your expressions as we go into this question. The question I might say to Bonginkosi would be, because I'm interviewing him, I might say, imagine you discovered a major newsworthy, it would go sensational, it will go viral if the world knew that there was a security breach. So, my question for you is, how would you communicate this to our leadership? And what would be some of the advice you would give our leadership in terms of how they communicate this to our employees, our stakeholders? And what we're testing for here is if our candidate has the ability to communicate with leadership using non-technical language, whether they're doing this in person or whether they're doing this in the form of written communication, to help our leadership understand what is the threat, what is the exposure, and how we should go about to mitigate it. For you as HR professionals, remember at the beginning of this live stream, one of the questions the question of the day that I asked is, how are you as an HR professional transforming the way that you do your workforce planning? How are you transforming the way you understand the talent marketplace? How are you transforming the way that you engage this set of talent? Because similar to AI engineers, similar to software engineers, cybersecurity specialists, one of the best ways to retain them in your organization is giving them an opportunity to engage leadership. So, how are you enabling your talent to have exposure to leadership, to share some of these critical messages that are coming out of what they know about the threats that are coming to our work environment? Now, to help bring this to life, because I've spoken a lot and I want to get to your questions, to help bring this to life, I know you guys watch Netflix. Anybody out there watch Netflix this weekend? Well, how about we take time now to maybe watch something from Netflix? What do you think, guys? A quick video from Netflix, and then we come right back into this particular session and close it out on what are some of the ways that we can go about helping you hire this talent. So let's look at how Netflix goes about recruiting, engaging top talent.
I think what I love about recruiting at Netflix is it isn't prescriptive. So the strategy really depends on the manager you're working with and the type of role you're trying to fill.
I think what's really unique about the culture around recruiting at Netflix is the collaboration between the hiring manager and the recruiting team, and then the ultimate ownership that the hiring manager has over that process and the ultimate decision. And I'm really empowered to own that decision every step of the way.
My relationship with hiring managers at Netflix is fun, it's engaging, it's challenging. I spend probably more time with my hiring managers than I do my colleagues or anyone else at Netflix.
I think here everybody is treated as an equal, and I have a much closer relationship with the hiring managers that I support. You know, we have weekly meetings, and it's not really just to do like a resume review.
I think that recruiting at some companies can become very tactical or operational.
A lot of times I think that the recruiters can be kind of seen as like just a barrier to entry, and they just have to get through it.
The hiring manager is often in the back seat, and they're being fed candidates.
What I love here is it's very consultative and strategic.
We're not just like gathering down what languages you code in and, you know, taking like just a checklist of what you do. Like, we're actually having a conversation and we're assessing to see if you're going to be a good fit here.
I spoke with Chrissy on the phone once or twice, email back and forth. When I sat down with her in my interview, I was just very impressed because she's very direct, very candid.
I was really impressed with how friendly and candid everyone here at Netflix was throughout the process.
I appreciate that because I can be direct back and I can give candid, honest feedback. And I know that anybody I work with is going to give me that same feedback. And that's the impression I got from Chrissy, and it's still true today. And she's actually a good friend of mine now.
I use LinkedIn in my everyday more as a point of reference. I think it's great to understand someone's story, their career trajectory. So even if they apply and they submit a resume, often that doesn't tell the whole story. And so I will always check LinkedIn as a reference to basically understand, like, what else can I learn about this person?
It felt like the engineering manager and the recruiter were really paying attention to who I was as an engineer.
There was never someone telling me that we know better than you and your current company is wrong, we're a better fit for you. It was always, this is your choice. We want to make sure that you're a good fit for Netflix, but also that Netflix is a good fit for you.
I think the cool thing about recruiting is that you're ultimately impacting the business, but when you make a good hire, you're actually changing someone's life as well, which I think is cool.
I definitely think recruiters have the ability to change lives. I am in California now, moved from South Carolina due to the fact of a recruiter reaching out.
I was on mute there. I am back. Welcome back. So we watched a little bit, of course, about how Netflix approaches partnering up with the business. They're partnering up with their marketing team in order to build compelling stories that help the best talent want to work for them. They're partnering up with hiring managers, providing an opportunity for them to be part of the interviewing journey. And again, in terms of how these recruiters and talent specialists are now becoming strategic to the business by coming in with these insights that give credibility. Now, in terms of the world of work, and of course, coming back to Nkosi, who is our cybersecurity specialist that we're trying to hire into our organization, here's typically how professionals out there are interacting with your organizations. They see a job, silence. They go in and look at the job, silence. Eventually, a recruiter gets in touch with them and starts positioning and asking them to apply. That's not an effective way to do this. This is the, what do they call it? Post and spray This is the same as putting a newspaper advert. It's antiquated and it's not effective. The reality of the talent landscape, and this is why I asked the question today earlier, is how are you as HR leaders transforming the way that you recruit? Because we cannot continue to do things the same way we have done them, where we're placing adverts in papers, where we're reaching out to agencies to help us recruit. We have at our fingertips the same database that these agencies are using to help us find this talent. And we, as institutions, whether we're government, whether we're healthcare, or whether we're universities and colleges, can leverage the same platform to engage this talent. And when we want to engage this talent, we're not looking to just post a job and wait. That doesn't work. What works in the world we're living in today, what works with our candidate, you can see it for yourself because of the way that you shop, the way you engage, the way you think about new roles, is that you want constant engagement with the brand. You want to get a sense of who that brand is. This is what recruitment looks like in the modern era, and that's why I asked the question, how are you transforming your organization to get the best-in-class talent to join you? To get them to join us, we need multiple touch points. Yes, they will see that job advert that you post off your page, but what they will see also when they go to your page is not just a job. They will get to see your leaders. They'll get to see your values. They'll get to see a bit of your culture, your facilities. They'll get to see employee testimonials. They'll get to see the reasons why people work for you. What's more, they get the opportunity to follow your brand. What you're seeing here as step number 2 here is Bonginkosi, because he's shown an interest in our brand. His face will pitch up when he's on LinkedIn, and we will position jobs that are aligned to his skills for him. What's more, he'll get to see the things that we post as an organization, as individuals, or things that are posted by our marketing team, our employees, our students, whoever's in our community. As they post on LinkedIn, this helps candidates understand our culture, our values, and why they might want to work for us. What's more, Bonginkosi, as he goes about his ordinary day on LinkedIn, he's coming on LinkedIn to learn, to connect, to engage, to share his thought leadership. He is not necessarily coming on LinkedIn to find a job. So as we go about looking for this talent, let us keep in mind the fact that we want to find this talent where this talent goes voluntarily. They do not wake up in the morning and look for our website. No, don't lie to yourself. They don't. These are gainfully employed specialists that are out there in the world of work today. So they come onto LinkedIn to connect up with people they know, to learn, to share their perspective, and to also engage like-minded professionals. And as they do that, your brand is surfacing. Your jobs are becoming prominent and available for them to start engaging with. What's more, you will have access to insights so you can start seeing who's looking at your brand, who's looking at your employees. Because the very same cybersecurity specialists, if you have them in your organization, you want to retain them. So we want to have insights on who's looking at our talent in terms of organizations so that we can mitigate against losing critical talent from our organization. So in the ideal world, and of course in the real world as we live it today, in order for those who are top performers, gainfully employed, experienced, qualified, best-in-class cybersecurity professionals, if we want to bring them on board, if we want to hire them, we got to have multiple touch points. And that's why here at LinkedIn, when we partner with your organization, it's not just partnering with HR, it's partnering with marketing, it's partnering with corporate communications, it's partnering with learning and development, it's partnering with the hiring managers and the leadership to ensure that when we're going out there and we're talking to talent, we're surfacing messages that work for that community. What else you can expect in terms of partnering up with us? And I know we're nearly at the top of the hour. So if you are a recruiter, a talent acquisition professional, or you're learning and development, or just an HR manager, here's some of the things that we can do together as we partner. We can help in terms of building out internal mobility opportunities. Like we said, if we're not looking to hire externally, LinkedIn can give us the skills that we require in order to grow people internally. We can partner up together to help strengthen your employer brand so that you become a talent magnet. And then at the same time, we can also support your leadership development. How do we go about this? Like I said, we leverage insights. Insights are the game changer for the HR manager of the future, the HR manager of today, the HR manager who is transformed, the HR department that is getting a seat at the table. How are they getting a seat at the table? Because when we're looking to hire this talent, this is an urgent talent that we need as a business. We need to be clear in how we communicate back to the business in terms of, does this talent exist? Where does it exist? Who's hiring this talent? What type of skills does this talent have? And how many people are available for us to interview or go after in this space? Now, that sounds like a daunting task as an HR professional. How are you going to know about this sector and industry that you're not familiar with? Well, you could leverage LinkedIn's talent insights, because what you can see here on screen is I've just done a quick search looking at, for example, a product development role. I could specify the geography, the place, and what it will tell me is how many professionals are out there in my geography? How many have recently changed jobs? How many jobs are out there today competing with the job that I want to post? I can then get a sense of, where does this talent exist? Is it in my country? In my country, in which location? What's more, I can go further and get a sense of who is employing this talent. Because I might want to take an approach where I'm looking to headhunt talent from specific industries, from specific organizations. So with this talent insights, I'm getting a lens of where this talent is so that I can make smarter decisions. I am using real-time insights to get a competitive advantage in knowing where this talent is, who's hiring it, and what skills it has. Now, if we had to go the traditional approach, and the traditional approach might have been us going to a recruitment agency, how long would it take for them to compile this report that you can produce in less than 2 minutes? You got me? 2 minutes. A couple of filters, and you're able to find out where this talent is in your particular geography, who's hiring it, is it hard to hire, and of course, this will help you and your team come out with a credible message that engages this talent and helps you hire this talent. In terms of these insights that we want to make available to you, they will help you as an organization search for talent, uncover where that talent is and where you might have overlooked in terms of finding this talent, get a sense of how hard it is to hire that talent, and getting access to actionable insights that will guide you in terms of, if you were to hire this talent, how long is this talent likely to stay with you? Because this is important for us to know as HR leaders as we transform the way we do our workforce planning. Because as much as we bring in this talent in, we want to be prescriptive to the business and say, this talent, based on insights, tends to stay with an organization for 1 year. So if it is for 1 year, how are we building up other talent pools? How are we preparing other employees to play in this role should this talent leave us? What else can we get from these insights? We can look at specific organizations. I mentioned the fact that we might be in a situation where today we're looking to headhunt this talent out of specific organizations or specific industries. So now we have a lens into organizations. 59 million companies. We can look at how they're set up, what type of talent they have. Are they facing attrition for this talent? Because if they are facing attrition, maybe this is the best time for me to engage and attract those people to come and work for me. Or are they growing? What skills are they investing in? What titles do they use? The more I know about my competitors, the better I will be positioned as an organization to hire talent. Because I am a government, I am a university, I am a college. I cannot offer the types of benefits and perks and packages that financial institutions offer. But what I can offer is a developmental opportunity if that person joins us. Here's how we measure success when you partner with LinkedIn. Here's how we measure success. It's important for us to look at not only can LinkedIn assist us, but as transformative HR professionals, if we're looking to partner with LinkedIn, how will we measure success? And here I'm turning a lens on what we will do together. Every quarter, you and I will come together to look at your performance, to look at how you're using the platform, to look at if you're getting results. We'll look at some of these key areas, such as getting a sense of when you've posted jobs on LinkedIn, how many people have looked at those jobs? Has there been growth? How do we compare with those that compete with us? Are people clicking in to apply for the roles? How many people are actually just viewing the jobs and are not applying? What we could also look at is when we have the recruiter facility available to us from LinkedIn as part of our partnership, we look at how our recruiters succeeding in engaging talent. Are our recruiters winning talent over? Which ones are those recruiters that are doing well in terms of engaging talent and getting talent to respond positively? We also get the opportunity to look at your talent brand, because it's not just about posting jobs. It's not just about the activities our recruiters do in terms of reaching out to candidates, engaging those candidates, and getting candidates to accept to apply for roles or accept to meet our hiring managers. What we also look at is how is your brand doing on LinkedIn? And we break down how your brand is doing on LinkedIn, not only just from a follower's perspective, but who are the followers? What industry are they in? Are they aligned to the industries that you're trying to hire from? Those insights help you and your organization become more strategic about your hiring. So you'll see which organizations out there have an interest in you. But beyond organizations, it pays for us to know how well we're doing from an overall hiring perspective. How many people are aware of our jobs? How do we benchmark against our peers? How many people are engaging and taking activities to look at our jobs and, of course, to know more about those jobs by clicking to apply? This is how we measure success on a quarterly basis, including the ability for you to know as an organization when you're posting jobs, when you're engaging with candidates, what is the impact from a gender diversity perspective? Are your updates reaching more female or male candidates? Are people who are coming to your company page on LinkedIn more female or male? And how does that compare against the industry? In terms of growth of your followers, more females or males coming to your profiles? In terms of the jobs, clicks, in terms of applications, and of course, in terms of some of the in-mail. These are just some of the few ways that we will partner up with you and your organization in terms of measuring success. But I know it's all, of course, about hiring people and getting people into jobs. And it's not just about us meeting quarterly or Stuart and LinkedIn providing you these insights. You'll be able to look at these insights yourself as an organization. So when we post jobs, how well are the jobs doing? How many people have looked at the jobs? How many of those are unique? Or is it the same people looking at the same jobs? Is it people applying? How many have applied? How many have completed the applications? And we start moving those people through the various stages as we look to shortlist and hire. I mentioned the fact that what you do on LinkedIn as a brand matters, because this is what helps tell our story, our culture, our values, the work environment, and this is all the things that help talent want to work for you because they know more about you. So you are able to dissect Who is looking at your company page on LinkedIn? Where are they coming from? Which companies do these people or candidates come from? This might start telling you the propensity or at least the interest from specific organizations. What you also then get to see is the behavior of candidates. Are they looking at jobs? Are they clicking through your jobs? Are they looking at your employees? And speaking of employees, some of the insights we provide for you, like I said, is not only those who are looking at your jobs, your company, and your organization, but those who are looking at your employees. Which companies are they? And which concentration of employees are they looking at? Because these could be some of the talents they might be looking to recruit swiftly away from our organization. What's more, in terms of helping you, and I want to wrap it off, folks, because we're at the hour mark, but insights that you will be getting from LinkedIn that will help you thrive as an HR organization. We want you to thrive as an HR organization, to be successful, to be efficient, to be able to do more with less. So the funds we have available for branding, for posting our jobs, for engaging candidates, let us bring those funds together and leverage the technology that's available to help us get insights into if we're doing the right things, if we're able to attract the right kind of talent, and if what we're doing is working. How do we do that? I mentioned the fact that on a quarterly basis, we meet together to help you, to help both of us become successful. And one of the things we look at is when you've posted jobs as a company, we look at whether the length of the job had an impact in terms of people engaging and applying, the amount of time you posted that job out for, and of course, the information that you put in, how it impacted candidates' application rates. I want to start wrapping off by highlighting some of the things that we can provide as you hire cybersecurity specialists. Is, of course, LinkedIn prides itself in providing a learning landscape from coding all the way to hardware. And like we mentioned, those in cybersecurity that we hire have an understanding of hardware, software, networking. So if we're looking to hire them as a university, as a college, as a government, as a non-profit, what we could position for them is the opportunity for them to learn and continuously develop themselves, because when they join us, we have access to LinkedIn Learning. 20,000 courses, specifically some of them dealing with technology, all the way from coding through to hardware. And there is a deep layer of courses on security that would appeal to this audience that we're trying to hire. And it pays for you as HR professionals to understand your learning audience. Those you're looking to develop internally, those you're looking to hire externally, understand their learning habits, understand what learning matters. And of course, because we're looking to hire tech skills, cybersecurity specialists. We talked, of course, about hiring software engineers, AI engineers. These specialist roles, one of the greatest ways to attract them is to give them a route to certification. So, of course, if you have access to LinkedIn Learning, some of the security courses we provide will enable you to position lifelong learning as one of the benefits for joining your organization, and, of course, the ability for that person to get the skills they require and grow. Well, that's it, folks. We have covered today how to hire cybersecurity specialists. Unfortunately, my co-host was unable to join me, but the show must go on. And in terms of the show going on, here's how we're going to end it off. On screen right now is a QR code. The QR code, if you take it or take a screen grab, this will help you find the following: access to some of the live streams we've done in the past, of course, how to hire software developers, AI engineers, fundraisers, recruiters, human resource managers. We've covered it all. And of course, next week, you're going to find this particular live stream on how to hire cybersecurity specialists. It will be in that same folder. We've also put into that folder the Workplace Learning Report. What is the Workplace Learning Report? LinkedIn has gone in and said, what is the future of learning and development? It will be there for you, and it'll cover aspects of technology skills. What you also find in there is a document for you as an HR recruiter, talent acquisition professional. A document that talks about how you can become more socially engaged as a recruiter. You need to transform the way you engage this specialist talent, this technical talent. So what is it in your profile that says you are a specialist in hiring technical roles? Because like we said, when talent looks for a job, they look at your profile. They look at the profile of your leaders. They look at the profile of the organization. They look at the profile of everyone in your institution. So help them make that talent decision to join you by positioning your organization and your talent brand as best as possible. What you're also going to get in that link is the ability to see a link to how you can book time with myself, or you can book time with Turn Left Media. We unfortunately are at the hour and we don't have time to take any questions, unfortunately, but put them into the chat because I will be on LinkedIn and responding to these questions after this live stream. Put them into the chat. Here's some of my colleagues that are assisting us with this journey. And again, a QR code where you can get access to some of the things that we've covered in the past and some of the things that will help you as an HR professional transform your world and your role. Well, folks, we've come to the end of the live stream. And as we've come to the end of the live stream, as usual, we ended off with a video that helps us understand how other organizations are going about planning for talent, going about engaging talent, going about hiring talent, doing more with less. And that's what this is all about. I hope you have gotten some best practices, some ideas of how you can identify talent, engage talent, and how LinkedIn wants to partner up with you to help you achieve some of the things that will help you bring in the critical skills that you need. Cybersecurity roles are just one of the ones that we covered today. Next week, we'll be looking at another role that might be of interest to you. Folks, it's time to shine. It's time to shine as recruiters, hiring managers, CSOs, leaders. It's time to shine as cybersecurity professionals. And that all begins with our own LinkedIn profiles. On our profiles, we get to tell the world our story. We get to tell the world our skills, our experience, and the things that we're doing. So if we're meaningfully trying to engage talent, let's tell a story of how we're bringing in that talent, nurturing and developing that talent to broadly address some of the holistic challenges that we have as organizations. It's time to shine as a professional. Here's some videos that will help you start seeing how our other organizations are shining by leveraging some of the tools and facilities we talked about. I look forward to you joining me on Friday, if you're a job seeker, when we host that Sizzler, that Friday Sizzler show. And of course, next week, Monday, when we talk about the next hard to hire role. I hope you found this inspirational. Feedback is a gift that I truly, truly appreciate. So as we close out this live stream, please feel free to add in some feedback that will help us improve the quality of these events that we position for you. With that, have an amazing week, folks. And I look forward to you getting in touch and us helping your organization with its planning, branding, and hiring. Now let's look at how other organizations are recruiting globally.
I searched globally to find engineering talent to join Atlassian here in Sydney. Some people who join Atlassian make big leaps across the world to join us, and to be a part of that and to offer it to them is amazing.
We have our mission and our values and our organization pretty well figured out, but then getting that message out to candidates around the world is a new challenge. So it's critical for us to understand where certain segments of developers or designers might be located so that we can run campaigns or reach out to the right markets.
Atlassian wants to find the best talent in the world. We seek individuals who buy into our values and ultimately will live by them. LinkedIn provides us a platform to find that talent.
I really couldn't do my job as a recruiter without LinkedIn. Straight off the bat, we have access to a global talent pool that you can then supplement with your own research to build a really strong talent pool for Atlassian.
Using talent pool data, we're able to see by market where certain segments of people are located. And that's really helpful when we're making the decision about where to run a campaign or where to have our recruiters focus on outreach.
The one common thread we're looking for is our values and to make sure that they're a values fit for Atlassian.
I received a message and now I'm on the other side of the world with the job that I love. Moving to another country was kind of scary, but everyone here is from all around the world. The culture allows me to be myself. That was very important to me. People with different backgrounds, they have different perspective about the same problem, and that's so important to get the best solution for the customers. For sure, I made the right decision, I can say that.
Seeing that employee here at Atlassian, socializing with their partner and children and other Atlassians and their families, that is one of the best parts of my job.
Qualified and interested candidates are out there. But it's difficult and time-consuming to find them when you're searching across multiple places and realize that some candidates are missing details or have outdated information. What if you could get a more complete picture of your candidate and be sure it's up to date? With Resume Search, each search in Recruiter gathers all the information for you. Important details from candidates' resumes, starting with skills, are automatically filled in on their profiles, so you can discover the most qualified candidates all in one place. The best part? Every search in Recruiter is now automatically powered by Resume Search. Start your search in Recruiter today.